Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Bong Joon-ho's brilliant movie, Mickey 17. And today we're going to talk about the Inception. We're going to talk about the character that is the first player character made by a Dragon Master, made by a Dungeons & Dragons player. All right, let's jump into this. So we've already talked about the human. The human is someone who does not play Dungeons & Dragons. They are quite unique, and they are a sad state, right? Basically, this is shown in the movie. By the way, spoilers for Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 here. And all right, and so if you're a human and you never play Dungeons and Dragons, you have a huge problem. You have a major problem, right? Because you never self-print. You never make another self, right? And that is a terrible, sad state that no one should endure, or no human should endure. But most people are humans. They are only ever going to have one self, right? They're not going to create. They're not going to human print the way it shows in the film, right? So you have this situation where everyone who is engaging in Dungeons and Dragons is engaging in the human print. We are making another self. That is how every single Dungeons and Dragons character should be understood. And Dungeons and Dragons characters come in three forms. Let's talk about them. Inception, we're going to talk about that today. Expendables, we'll talk about that in another video. And then multiples. We'll talk about those in another video. Okay, but today we're going to talk about Inception. So you come to the Dungeons and Dragons table for the first time, okay? And at this point, you are engaging in a social contract. This is widely discussed in Dungeons and Dragons circles that this is a social construct, right? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. So this is a social construct, a social contract that you are engaging in with every person at the table. I have a bigger idea that I believe that when you do Dungeons and Dragons, you're actually the social contract goes beyond the table as well. But that's for another video. Let's keep going here. All right. So you are making a social contract with the Dungeon Master to engage with their story. You are making a social contract with every single player at the table to engage with the story that they're creating. You are making a social contract with the math rocks. Those probability devices, which are going to interrupt the Dungeon Master and the Dragon Masters, right? But you are also making a social contract to that player character, that character sheet, to say, I'm going to bring you to life, right? And I'm going to give you life, and I'm going to invest a portion of myself into you, and I'm going to take some of what is here on this page and bring it back into myself. There's a recursion there that happens, right? But here's where things get wild, right? So basically, there is this Inception, the first character you ever make. So Mickey 1, right? So Mickey, Starport Mickey, is the original, right? He is the Dungeons & Dragons player, the Dragon Master, okay? And the original, agrees to create additional selves. And we really need to start thinking about Dungeons & Dragons like this. It is an agreement to human print to make additional selves, right? This should not be entered into lightly, right? And I think most people realize this. This is why we get so much pushback on doing a Dungeons & Dragons game. And we need to start to change the language that we use around Dungeons & Dragons. Oh, it's easy. Oh, it's simple. Oh, it's just pretend. That is not even remotely true, right? There are players who, and it's not just me, Naigobi just did a fantastic video where she talked about player character deaths should matter, and sorrow is a real thing. And if you are running Dungeons & Dragons right, there could be deep sorrow connected to the player character's death, right? So none of this is simple. None of this is light, right? And none of this is fun, in my opinion. We've left fun behind. Like, it's just, fun is not a word that should be attached to Dungeons & Dragons. It's not. I'm watching Severance right now. That is not a fun show to watch. It's a meaningful show. It's a show that matters, right? to show this has something real to say, right? It's not fun, right? And I think Dungeons and Dragons is the same. The point of Dungeons and Dragons is not fun. Okay, let's keep going here. All right, now we get to the point where you sit down, you have your pen, you have the piece of paper, you have the math rocks, and you begin to create this character. And you complete it, right? This is your inception. And we have done everything wrong in Dungeons and Dragons for 50 years. And in this next 50, it's our turn to get it right, to start to change some of these things, and make it so that what is happening at the table is meaningful and real and useful, right? And so one of the things is, I don't have my first character sheet. I should. And the reason why is there should be conversation saying, this is your first human printing, right? You need to hold on to this. Like, your first character sheet should be framed after that first campaign, right? And saying, this is the first time you self-printed, that you made another self, right? And we don't do that, and we need to stop. We need to start doing this. We need to recognize the moment of inception. Inception is character sheet 1. It is the first time we create a new self. It is a huge change, a huge transformation, right? It changes us from humans to originals, right? Human, Naja, sorrowful, sucky, just her, never be printed, doesn't matter, right? Original, that's the Starport Mickey, right? He dies, but then they print him again, and that's Mickey 1. That is the inception. And he goes from being human to being an original, right? Someone who death does not impact, right? And you're like, wait a second, death does impact us. It does impact us, but not as a human would. We just saw this, right? This guy, Gene Christian, who was, he was Professor Dungeon Master's friend. He died a regular life. He died a regular death, right? But his glory was hailed by the Dungeons and Dragons community. There are literally thousands of people who have already seen what his life looked like, what kind of person he was, and his honor is carried forward by a few people who knew him in the proximity, but by thousands who say this person was more than oneself. They are more than they're more than that body in the dirt, right? There is a character, there is an entity, there is another self for that person, which is causing activity at other tables and impacting the world right now, right? So we really need to start thinking about inception, the first character, and how important it is, and make sure that person, you say, first of all, you are no longer human, you are original now, right? And this character sheet, this piece of paper, is your inception. It's not just another piece of paper. And don't ever make a backup character. And the reason why is you're making... Man, Bong Joon-ho's movie is so brilliant. You're making multiples in a dangerous way. We do want to make multiples. We just want to do it the right way, not in a dangerous, reckless way. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetchable Lenny.